are on the eve of Eroc's retirement to the sadness of exactly no one. I am joined, of course, by Java Joe Sports at Java Joe Sports. Hello, good afternoon, Mr. Joe.
Hello, hello.
We have a lot to get to. I think we've learned some things about this Dallas Mavericks Boston Celtics series. I'm not saying that that I personally am the head of the Mavs and Seven movement, but I will say I'm a strong proponent of it. But we'll get to that toward the end. Plus, a little NFL talk with T. Lawrence and T. Higgins. Oh, look, the once retired E-Rock. Hello.
Oh snap! I didn't know
But
we started.
first, Connor McGregor. So the fight got called off. I was honestly really looking forward to this card, and to me it shows a couple things. But first, I would like to hear your reactions in terms of us need now having to wait a couple months. It sounds like I'm going to guess October for the Chandler McGregor fight. Just initial reactions. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunate, right? And my how I'm worried about it is that when you have such a long layoff like Connor's had, um, and just it being longer and longer, and I don't know how far he got into his training camp when this injury came up or whatnot, so I don't know in what kind of shape he was in prior to getting the injury. But the longer and longer you're out of a combat sport like that, the more I'm worried about what your performance is going to be when you get into the ring. Um, and I think there's something to mat rust, to ring rust. There is something to that. You know, you can spar all you want outside of the thing. Just like in professional sports, when you're out a long time, you can train in scrimmages and conditioning wise all you want to, but until you're actually in the contact, until you're actually in the middle of it, like it's going to be hard for me to believe that you can just roll out of bed and come do this, right? So like that's what I'm worried about. That's why it really kind of sucks, just because again that time between McGregor's last fight between now only gets longer, and maybe the anticipation grows, but for me as a person who's like a real connoisseur of the sport, um tactically, like win loss wise, like when it comes to it, it just becomes even less likely that the guy's going to come in there and do what he used to do. You know what I mean?
Okay, and I think I do. So you almost answered my immediate follow up, and then we'll head to E-Rock. Do you actually see Chandler McGregor happening?
Oh, he's talking to you,
Mr. Joe?
Joe. He's talking.
Oh, does it happen? Like, does the fight happen? Oh, I think the fight
Yeah.
happens eventually. I don't know um how much desire I have for it as it gets. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I don't know what my appetite is going to be for it the longer we wait. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that I hear. And to answer your other question, Joe, my appetite is for pretzels with that beer dip. That's my current appetite.
Ooh,
Go ahead, E-Rock.
there you go. Well, I love that Joe's going full science fiction here, and he's
Yeah,
phasing in and out of our reality.
that's
Um,
right.
so it is really cool. I gotta.
Very Matrix.
No, it's like something out of Star Trek. I like love it, and everyone knows I'm a Trekkie. That's okay. I'm a nerd of sports. I'm a nerd of. I'm a nerd in general. I don't care. I'm just a cool nerd. That's what it is. With a pool ball, with a cue ball shaped head. So let's. Here's what I'm going to. It's just true. It's a very handsome cue ball. So Conor McGregor. Yeah, actually, I'm glad. I'm not as um in the loop with the fighters themselves these days. There was a time probably like not even a year ago where I was actually still trying to keep myself plugged in to the names, but there's not like really, in my opinion, like the same star power that there was when it was in the come up, like the Spider Silvas, who's still my favorite fighter, the John Joneses, when and the light heavyweight division when it was just chock full of people. The heavyweight was chock full of people. There was unfortunately the George St. Pierre's. Shad Evans, Rampage, etc. There were characters, and there still are occasionally, for sure. But I do know the sport, and I love mixed martial arts. I do. I love mixed martial arts. So here's what I would say about this. And speaking of big names, Conor McGregor is yesterday's page, bro. And it's ever since his record is 1-3 since his boxing bout with Floyd. Well, I'm not going to say his full name. Y'all know him. The guy who's pretending to be the best boxer that ever lived. So ever since then, he's been just eh. And this is just another thing. I don't think the narrative was that exciting to begin with. And someone even said, I forget who it was. It was someone I respect as a columnist for MMA. But they said, like, I wouldn't be surprised if something happened and he wasn't able to make this fight. Go figure. 36 hours later, this actually was reported. Unless he knew something I didn't. But I'm not going to have much of a hunger for this fight. I'm more excited about the boxing match with Mike Tyson than I am with this. And that's saying something. Because I actually, again, it's like personality, it's legend. But Conor McGregor is kind of faded off the map. I would prefer them to actually put a better contender against, just a better match in general. But yeah, and he's right about ring rust. That's what they call in other sports game shape. You can go in the pool and do your underwater workouts like Chris Shops did or Dame Lillard did. You don't do it until you're on the court, on the field, and you're getting bumped around, messed around. Fighting is the same way, if not more. Ask John Jones, ask Daniel Cormier. So, ask Anderson Silva. Ever since his leg broke and wrapped around Chris Weidman, he was never the same. One, he was worried about his leg, and two, he just was so different. And it was sad to see, but yeah, that's I think this is going to lose its flavor very quickly, like a rice cake.
I mean, completely. Shout out to rice cakes. But
why?
But right, this was supposed to be kind of the culminating factor of a couple different things, mainly Ultimate Fighter. And it's also supposed to be a fight that draws in the more casual crowd, like, oh, Conor McGregor, he's awesome, right? The ones that haven't been as tuned in. I just there are so many really actual exciting names that the appetite, the hunger, the desire, use whatever word you want for it. It's no longer there. Now, that being said, it would still do well as a pay-per-view event, I imagine. Or do you think no, E-Rock?
Well, I'm going to answer your question, and then I'm going to answer your question with another question. I'm going to answer it with an answer and answer it with a question. And I want you to see what your opinion is, if that's okay. I'm going to reverse host you here. No, it sounded really weird, but you know what I meant. Remote mediate. So my answer to that question is, yeah, 100%. I'd rather see deserving fighters. Honestly, and it was a draw for the namesake. That's it. But his namesake doesn't mean nearly as much as it did 2 years ago. It's not like people don't care about his ish talking and his antics anymore compared to what they did.
Yeah.
He's like I said, he's yesterday's newspaper, man. And that's saying something because newspapers don't really exist. So he's like yesterday's tweet. I don't know. That still sounds bad. All right. Either way, he's cold leftovers. So, it's not like, it's like trying to, John Jones is the only one of that era that can come back and make a true difference. John Jones is like that guy because John Jones will come back and he'll be a freak of nature. That's what John Jones is because he's probably the best pound for pound fighter, in my opinion. I'm saying that even though I hate saying it's not a Spider, but him and Spider are the two best pound for pound fighters I've ever seen in my life. But in the question I'm going to pose to you is Dana White just absolutely just diluted this market, like because he's just done. I hate Dana White so much. I think he is such a showman. He's like the Vince McMahon of UFC. And eventually it becomes so, as they say in the South, big for their britches. And now it's like you try to expand so much, you're losing the familiarity. I was going to say intimacy, but that's not right. Familiarity with the fighters where you can relate to the fighters or you can know who they are. You can see their stories. You know what I'm saying? But when you start flooding the whole thing and also there's so many in between fights, you're not just waiting okay, this is like I'm waiting for the next pay-per-view. Now there's free ones. There's ESPN Plus. There's the Ultimate Fighter. There's this and that. And that's Dana White. That's all him. And he always has to put his bald. And by the way, I make my baldness look good. He's just a big old white grape, steroided white grape. No, I hate that dude. But he has to have his face on camera and blah blah blah. So that's my question. The question officially though is, has Dana White been a part of this dilemma that we have with the lack of familiarity and relating to the fighters? That's what I meant to say.
Before we engage in Iraq's question, Joe, Brady wants to let Iraq know that
it's my dude,
loose old man.
Oh, it's my dude.
He's getting bit by mosquitoes because of it. So I'm not sure what bearing that has for you.
I'm actually okay.
Go ahead. Okay, Brady, Iraq's okay.
It's the least popular Brady. What's up?
But yeah, Joe, what I mean, I think undoubtedly yes. You know, I almost said Joe Rogan. Dana White's doing what he feels is the best path forward. He's right. We all know for example, his contention with Chris Cyborg. He's very lukewarm at best in terms of Islam, for example. So to answer Iraq's question, yes, but he's the owner of the company and that's what he wants to do. Of course, it's diluting, in my opinion. I think a lot of UFC fans see it that way. But what do you think?
Well, and here's where like it comes into play that we're bringing what's the appetite for McGregor being in a fight of this magnitude at his stage of his career. It's the thing that that UFC kind of so like UFC and WWE, right? Together, TKO, right? The thing that WWE has the benefit of is that their results are predetermined, right? And they're predetermined by us, in essence, like who we like, who we want to be behind, who we largely determine that. So it's very easy to kind of create stars, create an appetite for wanting to see certain matchups because there's that entertainment aspect of what WWE does. And it's largely influenced by us as a fan. Mm-hmm. So the fact that UFC isn't predetermined because, it's an actual sport. There's wins and losses. There's championships that mean something to the global aspect of things in sport. Okay. They don't have that ability. They got to hope that the people that are winning come with a personality, come with, that ego, that, look at Sugar Sean, right? Like that dude's a dog, right? But he wouldn't mean half as much if he wasn't winning matches, right?
Showmanship.
There's an entertainment aspect to what these guys do. And so the reason why Conor McGregor is still kind of like involved and has that cachet is because he has that in abundance. Now, he may go out there and get his butt whooped, right? Just straight clocked because he hasn't been doing it consistently. But that's why he's in the conversations, because he has that aspect of it. I don't know that UFC has the ability to create that narratives for some of these guys. Like some of these guys win, but no one wants to watch them win. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
You mean like, well, it's the heels of it. It's like the heels, and I mean there is some similarity. And yeah, I know it's one is actually. Well, I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's not scripted. I would hope so. But it's also a matter of there's a matter of showmanship. Who is that? Gabe, you might know this as well. Oh, O'Malley. I remembered his name last second. O'Malley. He's got the cool ass hair, and he's got he's a lightweight / either way. Yeah. Oh,
the guy Joe just said.
No, O'Malley. Who's O'Malley? What's the guy's first name? He's got showmanship. That's the kind of thing. Like you got
Sean.
Am I losing it, bro? That's the same guy I'm talking about.
No, I know.
His full name. Sugar Sean O'Malley.
I know. I was looking at something else. I'm sorry. That's what I'm saying. Sugar
Oh,
Sean.
What do you mean
I
someone else?
didn't know his nickname was Sugar. That's why I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Same dude.
because there's been Sugar Shane Mosley. There's been
Oh, man, he was good too.
Sugar Rashad. I mean, come on, dude. All right, so Sugar's probably one of those played out names. I need to start thinking about something else. I mean, like Rhino for Rampage. The dude was Rampage and he was Rhino. I mean, come on, Spider. That's really cool. All right. Either way, Sean O'Malley is one of those guys. It's showmanship. There is a matter of that. That's how you get people to want to watch you. Yeah, you have to win. Very true. Actually, but you know who else did that? Chael Sonnen made a freaking career out of being a mediocre fighter. And just because he talked a lot of ish, he was able to get fights where he shouldn't have gotten fights. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, so it is like, and that's why Dana White still wants it. I think there's been fights I have questioned him for making. So I don't know. But overall, I mean, I think we all can agree that Conor McGregor's lost a little bit of that sugar. Not the O'Malley, the other Sugar. He's lost that shine. But I think I think it's a foregone conclusion he get his ass knocked out in this fight. If they still have it.
I mean, largely this is just going to be a fight when it happens. Assuming it happens.
If it happens,
it's like it'll be a nice like final fight, but right, it's going to ultimately not mean a whole hell of a lot. It's fair. Fair enough. The dude really needs to cover his chest. My shirt is on, actually, Brady. And then E-Rock is flat chest.
I don't know who he's talking about because that's not.
It would be one thing if he was busty, but he needs to
busty.
I really need to monitor what I read. But
no, that's actually funny. That's actually funny because that just shows what he's into online. So obviously, I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm not tickling I'm sorry. I'm not tickling your fancy, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not getting implants though. That
sounded like disappointment on the side of Brady.
Yeah, I know. Why you just what are you mad, bro? You mad, bro?
But let's speaking of someone busty, Trevor Lawrence, he just signed a massive deal.
That was a weird position as someone that's busty. Okay.
And he signs his signing bonus $37.5 million, but he is under contract until and through 2030. All right, I don't know. If you sign this kind of deal, being drafted where Trevor Lawrence was drafted, the expectation has to be that you're going to win a Super Bowl with this guy. Is it going to happen? Is it possible? Go ahead, E-Rock.
Joe's gonna crack up at this first sentence. I'll keep it quick. What? But I really will keep it quick, though. I really will. This is actually as simple as it is. This goes the same thing with Dak Prescott, same thing with Kirk Cousins, the same thing with blah, 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 blah. You can keep it moving. Brock Purdy. It's like the conversation of how it's hard to replace a quarterback who you know is at least a competent starter because you know you're going to have to pay them. I think this is absurd. I don't think he's done what he needs to do. But do I get it? Yes, because you don't have quarterbacks don't grow on trees. I got plenty of trees behind me. I don't see quarterbacks growing out of them. So, I mean, you had to do this. If anyone can train him or teach him up right, it's teach him up good, I should say, it's Doug Peterson. He did it with Nick Foles, and they won a Super Bowl. So they're surrounding him with it, but I would have probably not given him as much guaranteed money or a signing bonus. That's about all I got. See, that was succinct and crisp. There you go. Oh, and I just got buzzed by a plot. There you go. Thank you.
Oh yeah. So we're applauding your answer there, E-Rock. But that fly is why Brady wants you to cover up, or maybe he doesn't want you to cover up. I'm confused. But
no,
Brady,
I think
don't mind clarifying.
He's focusing on something else, which he's only talking about me, which means
I think he's staring. I think he's staring. Like I think it's like, can you please cover up? Hopefully he doesn't cover up. I think that's what's going on. But Brady, you tell me if I'm wrong. Go ahead, Joe. If we can reshift the focus here, please.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, he has the benefit that he's next. That's really what this boils down to. He was the next one to get the contract. He was next in line.
Yeah.
that's just how the quarterback market goes. Like, this is one could argue, is he worth that amount of money based on what he's done so far? I'd argue not. But also, to E-Rock's point, who were they going to get that was going to be better than him? What the market dictates and where you are in the order of operations dictates how much money you get at the quarterback position. Do I love the fact that we're paying Daniel Jones what we're paying him? No.
Oh God.
No. But our hierarchy thought that this was the best course of action based on what the running backs longevity is, and they decided to choose one or the other. Great. Love that, because we're going to be in the quarterback market next year because of it. So shout out to them. But as far as Lawrence is concerned, he was just next. And they did the math and they looked at all the contracts that are in the top 5 and they just did the math based on that. And you know what? Someone else is going to be next after him, and so on and so forth. As the world turns, as the NFL turns, this is what's going to happen to the quarterback salaries, because they are the marquee position in this league. That's why they win all the MVPs. That's why they get all the attention, whether they win or lose. And it's going to be up to Lawrence to live up to that contract, but he was just next. That's how I feel about it.
Well, the good news is, didn't they get Zach Wilson as a back? No, that's Denver. Sorry. Well, the good news about the Giants is, didn't they sign Tyrod Taylor back to their team?
Negative. We have Drew Lock on our team.
Oh, Tyrod Taylor's on the Jets. I'm so sorry. You have Drew Lock's not bad. Okay.
Right
sorry.
city, wrong team.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. Gardner. Who would you rather have as your starting quarterback for the Giants? Just quick question. Gardner Minshew, Daniel Jones.
Minshew? What? That's not even a question. That's not even a question. I was begging my team to get Gardner Minshew after last season, and we ended up with Drew Lock. And I'm just like, you know what? That's a poor man's Gardner Minshew if I've ever seen one.
Oh shoot! I didn't expect that to be so just like But,
I'm just looking at what happened. I'm like, they almost won the division with Gardner
Zach
Minshew.
Wilson or Daniel Jones? Zach Wilson or Daniel Jones?
Is there an option C?
There's an option C.
Yeah, I mean, come on. We're not going to run through the who's who of terrible quarterbacks now.
Put Saquon at quarterback.
So yeah, Brady says, Brady, good save there. I can't read what this probably should say, but I can read what the fuck. I am allowed to read that on YouTube, so well played, sir. And then I'm not into that.
Really
are you into Daniel Jones as your quarterback? Because the New York Giants are, for whatever reason. We weren't on air that day, but when I saw that, I immediately thought of you, Joe. I was like, oh, good, another reason for him to be upset. But moving on. Speaking of being upset, I don't know if T. Higgins is happy in Cincinnati, but hey, he blinked. He signed the franchise tender. Now, granted. 21.8 mil this season. Not bad. But overall, there seemed to be just a sense of him just not being happy.
Coward.
Maybe I'm misreading it. He's a C. Brady, who's your team? The Montreal Alouettes, or the one that destroying was on?
Montreal Alouettes.
So fair.
Never heard that.
What?
Is that actually a real
that's
team?
The CFL team.
Yeah, it's a CFL team.
The Montreal Alouettes? What does that even mean?
Montreal
I've watched
Alouettes.
my share of Grey Cups in my day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's go. I love.
Call them the Tim Hortons. Call them the Montreal Tim Hortons.
Ooh, BC.
Oh, the BC Lions.
There you go.
Hell yeah, Brady.
That's all right. I work for a Canadian company, man. It's all good. I probably need to get into CFL a little bit more. What was the Argonauts?
Yeah.
Argonauts.
Yes, exactly, E-Rock. Yeah. Exactly.
Yes.
And by the way, we are in week 2. Week 1, we should start to probably monitor a little bit now that we know we have a fan. So the BC Lions, y'all played today against Calgary. Y'all played today against Calgary. So GL to you, Brady. GL. But anyway.
Good luck.
What was I about to ask? I was about to ask a question about TV. Yeah. Malcontent. He's more upset than Joe is about the Daniel Jones contract, which is saying something. Or am I misreading this? What do you think, Joe?
Malcolm
Well,
Sanders. Wow.
so here's T. Higgins' problem. Unfortunately, he's on a squad that already has the number one, right? And he can obviously be a number one in a lot of other places. I'd gather more than half the other teams could use him as the number one receiver. So he's just in this unenviable position where a guy who plays his exact position is also up for a similar big contract situation. Now he's probably pretty pissed, right? And that's understandable, right? Because he just saw JJ get his money, and he sees where the market's going towards wide receivers. And while that 22 is looking juicy, at the same time, he just saw JJ get far more than that, right? So he's saying to himself, "Where's my money?" Right? And he just doesn't want. He wants to avoid a situation where, if you guys remember, towards the end of the Legion of Boom era, where Earl Thomas was up for a contract and had to bet on himself, and then gets injured in his contract year, where it did affect his likelihood to get money at the end of the season. I feel like he signed a below market value contract because he had such a serious injury. These are the kinds of things that players in T. Higgins's position thinks of when they're on that 1 year contract, no matter how much money that contract is. So yeah, he's probably going to go in there upset. He's going to hope that his quarterback stays healthy to give him a reason to maximize this one opportunity that he has to get that 5 year or 6 year deal in the offseason with someone else. But he also doesn't want to lose money, right? So he's going to sign his contract. Well, he wouldn't have lost money until he signed the contract and didn't show up. But he doesn't want to take that year off and risk, having a Le'Veon Bell situation. That's just not in the cards for him. He's going to try to put on his best tape possible and makes himself lucrative to another team in the offseason. But yeah, he's probably going in there pretty pissed.
And it's more about the security because, like you're saying, you are betting on yourself. I mean, it's clear he wanted a big long-term deal. But again, I think you're in a decent position. I don't want to judge anyone, but I think you're in a decent position in life if you're frowning with a $20 million plus paycheck.
Absolutely.
So hashtag first world problems. Hashtag Brady is asking for hockey talk. We shall provide. Give the people what they want. We will discuss the Stanley Cup toward the end, Brady. But first, E-Rock.
Sorry, Brady. I know you should be watching Scoutcast Media Hub if you don't already. Because I was gonna do the segment Joe talk about hockey because Joe is our savant. Even though Gabe is right there and everyone else, I'm learning. I'm actually getting better learning. But Joe is the guy. But let's get back to a reminder. Thank you, executive producers. T. Higgins. Here's the advantage that Higgins has compared to Earl Thomas. He plays the second most desirable position quarterback goes without saying. He plays the second most desirable position in the entire league. So even if he got injured this year, I guarantee he would still get a very, very lucrative contract this upcoming year. In fact, do not be surprised if he gets a small injury, he sits out a few games. Like he will not play it around with that. He's going to take care of himself. He's going to play when he's on the field. He's already had his tape out there, his resume essentially. In the works, and he is a great receiver. I would love for him to come back to the Carolina area. He went to the other Carolina, not the real Carolina, but he needs to come to Charlotte, North Carolina, because dear Lord, that dude is a monster. Shoot. But at the same time, here's the thing that this is actually more about the Bengals, I think, than T. Higgins. T. Higgins has all the power right here. He signs this franchise tag. Next year's franchise tag is going to be ridiculously expensive, and they have to pay Tyler Boyd. And his name Tyler Boyd. They have to sign him. Yeah, they have to sign him. I think they already signed Joe Mixon. You know what? And their offensive line is still their biggest faux pas right now. They're having a Jets crisis right now. They have tied themselves up to so many skilled positions that they can't pay their line, which is a huge faux pas, massive faux pas. I didn't mean to sound so fancy. And you had a quarterback who just came on live TV and questioned his football mortality, which is, I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just one of those realizations. It's like, damn, man. And he's going to be thinking about that wrist every time now, every single time. And that's kind of a lingering thought. It's like a kind of a soft version of, not soft, I don't want to make it sound bad, but it's like PTSD light when it comes like soldiers and stuff. But they're always like, like I talked about with Anderson Silva, he comes out, he's always thinking about that broken tibia. He's always thinking about it, you know. So, or another player like Rodgers going to come out. Rodgers can say what he wants. He's going to be thinking about that heel. It's just one of those things. So Kirk Cousins, if he's not, I would be shocked. Okay, then again, he's getting, I don't know, Kirk Cousins' agent probably could get him an extension even with a hurt. That dude could turn water into wine. I want that guy just to be my life agent. But it's like, yeah, T. Higgins, I think this is a less story about him because he ain't coming back next year because they ain't going to be able to afford him if they want to sign Jamar Chase because that's the next shoe to fall.
Talk about next in line, yeah.
Talk about next in line indeed, because who are you going to keep? And they ain't going to keep Tyler Boyd. They ain't going to be able to afford him either. I'm telling you that now. They're going to have
all right, E-Rock is saying it first. The Super Bowl window is closed. That's what I'm hearing from E-Rock.
Essentially, yeah. I know I wasn't actually saying that, but yeah, I would go with that. I don't think it's closed. I think it's like the same in the Buffalo Bills. Them and the Buffalo Bills have a very slow close. It's like in the wrap up of The Godfather, that scene where he's like, don't ask me about business. And it's like,
oh yeah.
It's like Don Corleone. Oh, now you've seen a movie, pop culture reference. It's like Don Corleone. That's like with the Bengals. And remember how high we were? Like, who's going to compete with the Chiefs? And now it's like literally there's the only one team we all can just say like, and we all know who it is the only team that can even compete with the Chiefs right now. So, and it's a bird. It's a bird. It's not a plane. And it's in Baltimore.
I will say, E-Rock, if I'm going to get a movie reference, the likelihood of my understanding of it is going to be increased if it's before 1980. I'll just throw that out there. And then Brady says, I just subbed to Scoutcast Media Hub. Why so many separate channels? Technically, there are only two, Brady. There's this channel and E-Rock's channel. However, we all started at Total Apex Sports, and we may or may not be involved with them in the future. Right now, it's looking iffy at best. But we're kind of doing our own thing. So this is my thing, and E-Rock is doing his thing. But we're all just one
partnership. It's a partnership.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
It's kind of like the CFL. You know, they have the Montreal Alouettes and they have the BC Lions. And the analogy doesn't hold any water.
I don't think that was a good
for the last topic of the day before we discuss hockey. Only because Brady asked so nicely. But we do have to cover the thumbnail. Game 5. So there are or there aren't some things that we saw in Game 4 that will carry over to Game 5, or was Game 4 just a total anomaly? Or, God forbid, is there a more nuanced take? I don't know. I don't know if that's welcome nowadays. But go ahead, E-Rock.
Oh, you want me to start? Oh, sweet. Okay. No, since I'm not the mediator, the moderator, mediator, whatever. I'm gonna go in the host. I'm gonna go ahead and go off on this, and Joe's gonna have to answer for his crimes. Joe, you're finally here to answer for your crimes with your beloved Jason Tatum. No, that was just all kidding aside. I think this carries over to at least. I think this is gonna be every game is Game 7 for the Mavs. Every game is Game 7. You go out, you play like you ain't got nothing to lose because you ain't got nothing to lose. And you keep doing that. And this would be Kyrie I think he's there's undefeated and there's unvictorious. I'm making that up, but he's never beaten Boston in Boston since he's left. Man, what a better time than the damn present. That's for sure. Because he has to. And if they can play defense, I think maybe a blueprint was made a little bit, and I'm not sure how Porzingis is. I've changed his name so many times I can't even recall it, but Chris Schnapps, I don't know how his leg's gonna hold up. I know that's like, oh no, duh. I know, but it's like, is he gonna have the same? I think first, I said this before. The first game was adrenaline, numbing agents, etc., cortisone shots. I don't think he can hold up with the fast. Like they played the pace that they did, the Mavericks in this previous game, and the defense. I mean, and they're not, yeah, and they. That's going to take a really big toll on them, man. That's going to take a big toll. Look at Al Horford. That old man was gassed by the second quarter, man. He was done. You could have put him in a bed and he would have taken a nap, dude. Take him to the nursing home. Jason Tatum was non-existent. Jaylen Brown, which was incredible defense that they had for him. I think, and then PJ Washington, but they got to carry it over. And can Jason Kidd continue to keep them going? And can their stars, like the two backcourts, I think it comes down to who's going to help the backcourts now. Who's
fair.
Who's supporting cast is going to help, because Derrick Jones Jr. locked JT down, even got in his head. They were shoving. I saw him call him it's not appropriate. I don't know what's appropriate on this specific show, this channel, but he called him a P word, right, and shoved him, and it got Jason.
Oh, yeah.
You're
right to censor yourself, E-Rock.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he called him a cat, essentially. So he he was just never getting on there. So I don't know. This could be interesting if they win this game. Man, they go back to Dallas. I don't know. We might see a reverse sweep, man. It's going to happen at some. It's got to happen at some point. It has to. And what better team to do it than against the Celtics, who I love to defecate on. Let's just go ahead and say metaphorically defecate.
Oh my God.
Well, I said metaphorically defecate. And I used the nice word. I used the scientific.
E-Rock with his bowel movement update. That's awesome. Brady asked a legitimate question that we will take seriously here in a moment. The Celtics got whooped last night. Do they need to get rid of Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown so that they can rebuild?
Perfect.
P.S. I was joking, trolling with that. Don't take that question so seriously. Don't worry, we'll do a whole segment on it, Brady. And I will take it seriously.
Take it seriously.
I will take it at face value, Brady. But Joe, first of all, the original question. Kind of what you saw in game 4, and the Mavericks dominate. So do you think anything specifically will carry over into game 5?
I mean, as far as their two stars, I really hope for their sake that their 3-point shooting doesn't carry over, because they made one 3-pointer between them, having taken 14 attempts between them. So that's one thing. If I were them, I would hope doesn't transfer over. One thing that would have worked in their favor in previous seasons would have been the old 2-3-2 format in the finals.
Yeah.
As far as how it used to work out, the lesser record team had the 3 games in a row in the middle of the series. If they were going into another game in Dallas, I would have felt a whole lot better for them. But the fact that they're back to the 2-2-1-1-1 means this game's in Boston, and given the rhetoric that's been around this Boston team over the last several years since the formation of the Tatum and Jaylen Brown duo, is when they're finally going to win the big one, right? And the last game is the hardest one to win. The fact that, they were, the last time they were here, they were up 2-0 against Golden State, and they let them run 4 straight on them. So I think that experience, the experience of a Drew Holiday on this Boston team is really going to carry weight into this game 5 at home to finally get over the hump. I think I really strongly believe in a championship mindset, a championship pedigree, and games like this help form that. I think that leadership by Holiday is going to be important. And I think the friendly confines of the Garden is going to help them overcome overcome what they saw last game. If I'm Joe Mazzulla and I'm looking at this tape and I see that 122 on there and they're 84, like I said in the previous program, I'd point to that first half and just point out what here is Boston basketball. What here offensively or defensively is Boston basketball, and then I take that mindset into Game 5. Now that's not to say that Dallas is going to come over there and lay down for them. It's not going to happen. But I just strongly believe that in that building they have a much better chance than if this game was in Dallas.
Let me may I just say one sentence real quick, sir? I agree with everything he said, and the juxtaposition of that about being like, I also thought about the 1 or the 2-3-2 or whatever yesterday. But here's the thing: if the Celtics do lay an egg, which somehow, God forbid, that happens, how demeaning is, or how just deflating is that? Because going back to Dallas, then that would be an even bigger, like they win in Dallas in this next game if it's this old format, but they lose in Boston. Man, that series is more than alive. That is for damn sure. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
yeah. First of all, that was a hell of a long sentence, but we'll
I know.
allow it.
I know.
And second of all,
I caught it. Thank you. I know.
yeah. And second of all, right? Obvious, right? It doesn't take a genius to say that Boston will most likely win. No duh. What I am saying, first of all, Curious Sports Post, we are the number one proponent of Mavs of 7, and we have a running counter on the Twitter. Only 12 more quarters I needed for the reverse sweep, and the reason why it's alive is because I think self-doubt, and I think this is what Joe was saying. Self-doubt can 100% creep in if it gets to a game 6, if it gets to a game 7 for the Boston Celtics getting over that hump. So obviously, Boston Celtics, if you had to pick, who do you think will win the NBA Finals right now? You would pick the Boston Celtics for obvious reasons. But this is why it's a bit, sure, it's me being silly, fine. But I also, A, won't be surprised, and B, I'm like, well, let's see how game 5 turns out. If the Mavs sneak one in at TD Garden, then you're at home court. It's alive. If I'm putting a percentage on it, I'll give it like 10 to 15%. It's a non-zero percentage. Not likely. Not likely. But I'm putting a percentage on it. Hashtag Mavs in 7. Moving on. Brady, you've been patient.
Do it.
Oh, Jim. Wait, we have to first I forgot. We have to first answer his question. Do the Celtics? Oh no, sorry. Oh my God, reading. The Celtics got whooped last night. Do they need to get rid of Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown so that they can rebuild? No, Brady, both. They need to just burn it down and go the route of the Philadelphia 76ers, in which whichever star they draft in the 2025 NBA draft will then be sitting with the TNT equivalent in 10 years to come.
Hey,
right? Because
be fair.
It won't be TNT at that point, Brady. We know this, but it'll be whoever the equivalent is saying that it was luck and that they was injured in the Eastern Conference, including me. So that's my prediction to answer your question, Brady. But
Gabe, that is so not fair. That's not fair. They've already signed Jaylen Brown to his contract. It's Jason Tatum they got to get rid of. They haven't signed him to his. Come on, be fair. Get rid of Mazzulla and him, and then you got to then rebuild. You're being unfair. Yeah, there you go. Get rid of JT and JM. Come on, JB's your future. That's my take. It's right. Get rid of him. Run him out of town. There you go. Hope that helped, Brady. Hope that helped.
Go. Joe, do you want to indulge this or no?
I mean, he said not to take it too seriously.
Obviously.
I'll say this: the longer it takes for them to overcome this hump. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking, we don't the reverse sweep happens and Dallas wins, right? Yeah. The longer it takes for them to get over this particular hump, at some point, someone in leadership, namely Brad Stevens, since he's in charge of the roster, you really kind of have to wonder, are these two cursed together? Like, is the two of them together on a team just cursed? Like, is it just not meant to be? And I think that argument would get so much louder if they find a way to drop this one.
God, do you imagine? Do you imagine the morning shows? God, they would be so just.
It would be the biggest collapse since
the
their
Yankees.
Red Sox did it to the Yankees.
Yeah, I was gonna say since the Yankees, because you don't want to be the. And then the second one, but it wasn't nearly as loud, would be Virginia being the first 1 seed to lose to a 16 seed. You don't want to be the first to do something when it comes to
Good
that.
comp.
Yeah.
Good comp.
Oh my God, dude. I wouldn't. And we're going to be hearing the Tatum talk for, are we still disrespecting? Oh my God. I mean, I want to see it because it's hilarious, but I just, dear God. All right. We answered it.
All right.
Joe,
Gentlemen, we need to move on.
it's Joe's
Hey-
time. Do it, baby.
Gentlemen, hang on, E-Rock.
I know. I'm excited.
We need to move on. I wanted to give a quick update first on the New York Liberty Las Vegas Aces. They are dominating right now. And I said earlier, even when Las Vegas Aces were winning, I said they're not really clicking the way you'd like to see a perennial championship team. I think they'll figure it out, but now they're going to move to 6-6. Just something for us to keep an eye on. But let's focus on, right? I mean, I think they'll figure out, but I'm just saying they're going to be 6-6 now on the year. But anyway, Stanley Cup Game 4. This has been a fun series. If you're a Florida fan,
Miami fan. I said Miami Panthers.
Oh yeah, E-Rock, you always say it's the Miami.
Yeah, there's only one. Yeah.
It's got to be said, E-Rock, you and me did, without Joe, nail Game 3 in terms of how it would play out. We said it would be high scoring, and you said that they stand a chance if they score 3, but that the 3 would be needed. What we didn't see, and we all know who the better goaltender is and who has the better defense. What we didn't see necessarily was it being that bad. Right, they were kind of fortunate, I thought, to make it close at the end. And it's just a mental thing with Edmonton. I think they could keep pace. I do think they could match offensively, but they're just not pulling the trigger nearly enough times. There's a difference between waiting for a quality look and waiting for the perfect opportunity, and that's what they're doing way too often. That's my read on it. Let's go, E-Rock, and then Joe bring us home on this one. After Brady says Kelsey Plum is a baddie and she looks Canadian, no further comment. Go ahead, E-Rock, comment on anything and everything.
I don't know what looking Canadian would entail, truthfully. I really don't, actually. I've seen RJ Barrett, and then I've seen really, really white people like that play hockey. Okay, so yeah, I'll just be quick because I want to hear from Joe. Yeah, I mean, they needed to score 3 to stand a chance. What was the official score? 3-4 after was that what it was, or was it 2-3?
Yeah, in regulation. Yep.
It was 3-4. Okay. And it took a miraculous shot by Bravowski to block that shot. I think I pronounced his name right. The goaltender for the Panthers, the Miami Panthers. I can't remember Bravowski. I don't know. I guess cut me a break.
No, you kill me.
Sergey.
What?
You kill me every time you say Miami.
Go with Sergey if you can.
Sergey, I can do that. That's easy. I'm trying. Give me a break. I'm at least watching the games. I can't keep it. It's trying to learn a new language. You're just doing it. All right. But I got the gist of it. That's why I love lacrosse and I love soccer, because it translates to hockey so well. All right. Here's the thing that it came down to it. Yeah, you're right. We called it. They got enough points, and it took a miraculous block by Sergey. There we go, Sergey. I can remember that. And that was a remarkable block. He did basically a full split to have to get it. And you're right. It probably shouldn't. Gabe, you're right. It shouldn't have probably been that close. But they fought, and they fought hard, and I'll be damned. I mean, it's just the better team is winning right now. To me, that's literally it.
Yeah.
It's just the better defense. And here's what why the game was so close and higher scoring, because they were finally able to get closer to the crease, to get the putbacks, to get like in near there. Even if they didn't get the putbacks, they were at least challenging the defenders and the goaltender to be able to watch and keep his eyes moving. Because when they're sitting on the outskirts of the ice doing freaking long shots, slap shots, and just having to go through traffic, you're not going to challenge the goal, especially a freaking MVP champion, or he's going to be like the champion of the MVP here of the Stanleys. I mean, you're not going to challenge him. You need to keep his eyes moving. It's just like soccer when it comes to that, and lacrosse. So that's where it is. I hope they can make it a series. Well, I hope they can put a win on the board. I doubt it, but I hope they do. So that's where I'm at.
Joe, before you bring us home on this one, Brady clarifies Canadians equals super bottles. So shout out Darren Waller, because remember he's saying Kelsey Plum looks Canadian. So shout out Darren Waller on that. Hashtag low blow, Gabriel. Hashtag low blow. And then Americans equals fat, ugly, and sick looking sometimes. I would describe myself as all three, Brady. So you're not wrong. Go ahead, Joe.
I wonder what nationality Brady is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, 0 for 3 on the power play opportunities again for Edmonton, and when a lot of your offense comes from taking advantage of the man advantage, and you're not producing in that area, that's one thing that you can count on, that you counted on so far up until this point. That means that you need to get more contact on goal. Now, I will say 35 attempts at a save for Sergei, meaning they're getting more shots up, but he's a better goaltender. So Florida has him back there for this express purpose. If their physical game is not translating to limiting the amount of shots that he's taking, that's why they have a guy like that at net to make sure that he shuts it down. I will also argue that, okay, yeah, your magic number for them to get was met, but keep in mind, Florida was up 4-1 in that game. They didn't hit that number until the third period. And they got one early. They did get one fairly early. I think around the 14-minute mark in that third period, but they didn't get that other one until halfway in, like the 6-minute mark. Right. So if your magic number needs to be hit, they need to hit that number early if they're going to have a chance.
I agree.
You can't hit it after you're already down 3 goals and try to make a miraculous comeback against this team who's already experienced disappointment last year at this same stage. They're more healthy this time of year. They're hungry because of what happened last year. I know a lot of teams will say, oh, next year it's a different squad, et cetera, so on and so forth. But the core of this team maintains is whole. So the majority of this team knows what it felt like last year to come up empty-handed. So I'm going to say the same thing that I said about Boston in Game 4 against Dallas. I still believe that Florida is going to come in there and take it. I have zero doubts that they're going to come in here and finish the job. And I stand by what I said on Boston. Boston didn't get it done. That's on them. But Florida has the sting from having made it to the finals last year and missing out. And I think that'll fuel them to victory. Edmonton's only chance at this is to at least get too early. If you get up too early and just hold from there, because you know that with their goaltender, you're probably not going to get much past that. If you get up 2, you've done great. Don't count on getting more than that though. If you're planning on trying to win though. But yeah, that's basically where I'm at.
That was a great point. I just want to say that was a great point, and I didn't say it, but it was a very good point about, yeah, they got their points in the third period, but you can't. When I say that magic number, you're right. You cannot be playing from behind, because against a team with a good defense, that is a trial to do.
It's physical, right? So like it's the attrition that you're going through game to game. Yeah. That if you're playing from behind in a very, very high stakes situation, like that can almost gash you mentally before you even get to that period. So the fact that they got 2 goals in that third period, given what they've played like up until that point, kudos to them, but it's not a recipe for success.
I agree. And by the way, I was right about the name. I was really close about Bobrovsky. It's Bobrovsky. I was close, Sergey
Oh,
Bobrovsky.
that's not what I laughed at. I laughed because you always call them Miami Panthers.
Oh, they are the Miami Panthers. They are.
Yeah. It kills me
There's only
every
one
time.
state. There's only one Carolina. There's only one Panthers. Carolina Panthers. There's not the Florida. You're in Miami. Miami, it's its own province.
They
It's
play in
Miami.
Sunrise first off, and that's in Fort Lauderdale.
No,
they play in Sunrise in Fort Lauderdale. I promise you.
All right, fine. Still doesn't count.
I live there.
It doesn't count. It doesn't count because all Northerners, and you prove my point. That's a northern city. It's a New York. That's a New York annexed. It's an annexed New York over there. It's not real Florida. It's not the real South.
Okay, I will say Broward, Miami-Dade, and West Palm are very different from the rest of the state.
Thank you.
Much like New York City boroughs are much different than upstate.
Yes.
I will agree with that. However, it still stands that the city in which the Panthers play in is not Miami.
I'm still not fine. I'm calling them the Lauderdale Panthers. Then I'm fine. That's cool. I'm all right with that. It's not the Florida Panthers. Get out of here. It's not even snow in Florida. Get out. Listen to the.
It'll never happen, Brady.
Listen to the black. You know. I listen to black folk more than I listen to white folk these days. I can't trust white folk sometimes. They're just too weird. All right. This is coming from
look at that, Joe.
This is coming from a Canadian.
Well done, Joe.
Guys telling me to listen to black folk. He's listening to Canada. What's going on? All right, let's move on from that.
Canada is pretty.
Hey, depends on where you are. If you're in Toronto, maybe.
One last tie-in, though, I would like to say is this.
Yeah.
Listen,
this is supposed to be Canadian sport, man. What's going on? You guys haven't won.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
You haven't won a cup since '93.
Yeah.
'93. Come on.
We just burned the Brady Bridge. No,
I love them. I really do. It's just wild that we've won their sport.
Yo, did you watch the 30 for 30 on I Just Came for the Riot? It started out so good, and then it's turned out to be so lame. But it was like, dude, the Calgary was it Calgary? No, it was Vancouver. They burned down their city. I'm like, damn, dude, this is what happens when you're so nice being Canadian all the time. You have all this rage built up. That's why you take it out on the ice and you burn down cars. I mean,
oh, poor Brady. I'm sorry I had to do it to you, bud.
Yeah, he's already commenting right now.
I'm sorry I had to do it to you. Listen, you guys are definitely.
Here we go, Brady.
Oh, wow.
Passionate.
Oh, wow. Sure. We'll roll with that.
But so for tonight's game, I just want to see, like, we all know that the Fort Lauderdale Panthers are the better team. We all know this. But I'd like to see Edmonton pull the trigger a couple more times, take a couple more risks, because you literally have to.
Yeah.
I'm just the kind of guy where I'd rather go down swinging than not. And I'm not seeing that from this Edmonton team. I would like to see that sense of desperation. And so I would hate for them to get swept and it be because they played it safe or because they literally wait. Like, they had a 6v4 advantage when they pulled the goalie when someone was pulling. I forget who was serving time in the penalty. And they didn't get a shot off.
That's blasphemy.
Yeah, it was absurd. In fact, the only team that got a shot off was the Fort Lauderdale Panthers when they had 4 players.
Oh my God.
I think they scored with 4 players, didn't they?
It hit the post. But canceled from any and all hockey talk. But that being said, I can't wait for Game 4 tonight. So Joe, you have the sweep, and Erock, what did you have?
I'm cheering. My heart says cheer for Edmonton. My brain and everything of my fiber of being, I got Fort Lauderdale. I do. I can't help it.
Go ahead, Joe.
I have one caveat with Edmonton
or caveat rock.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, it's caveat in the dictionary. If it comes, if they can get at least one goal, if Edmonton can get one goal in the power play, I think it'll do a lot for their mental. In them actually playing to a strength that they do have. I think it'll do wonders for them in this game to keep them alive. So keep an eye out on their power play performance tonight.
Their money mark is to make 2 goals before halftime. This time I'm gonna I'm gonna be more specific. I'm gonna be more specific this time because I like what Joe did. They need to have 2-0 at halftime for them to have a chance to win this game. 2-0 halftime or whatever, not halftime, but by the end of the second period. That's what they have. Okay. They have to. That's a requirement.
I'm with E-Rock on this one. If Edmonton scores more goals, they would likely win. So that's all the time we have for today. We've got to get out of here. E-Rock, where can we find you? Go ahead, plug yourself.
I'm good. That was funny. I said by the second period. If he says, I love this. Hold on, I see the comment. No, you can put it up there. It's fine. I'm all right with it. Yeah, you can find me at Living09. It's my Twitter plug. I like this black dude a lot more than Era. At least he spelled my name right this time. How do you know he's black? Maybe he's got a really good tan. Maybe you're being racist. Who knows, Brady?
Or both.
Maybe he's got a really good tan.
Yeah. My money is on both. Let us know what you think in the comment section.
Yeah, let me know. Let's have a bet on if Joe's black or he just lives in Florida and gets a good tan. Let's find out.
Sun's definitely hot enough for me to be.
No kidding, right?
Being honest, I am really close to the equator at this point. Dude, it's literally not great.
It's already hot in North Carolina. I can only imagine what it's like in freaking Florida.
It's in the 90s at 7:00 at night. It's literally disgusting.
Right
There's just it makes no sense.
Southern brothers now. Yeah, that's where it is here.
It just makes no sense.
So plug myself. Scoutcast Media Hub. That's also the Scoutcast _H_hub. And also shout out to BetStamp. Check out for my Twitter page and for other locations, platforms. I'll be posting my promotional code actually later this evening. So be ready for bonuses and special parlays by other people that have made them, or you can piggyback off of them. So thank you all so much, and look forward to seeing y'all very soon for a special treat with. Well, the black guy won't be here, as Brady's calling him. The black guy won't be part. That's it. I like
TBD.
I like the black guy better. That's E-Rock should listen to the black guy. I just love it. That's gonna be like your new nickname, apparently, Joe. I don't know what happened.
Oh my god,
I didn't make it.
We are actively working toward getting canceled, and I'm for it. E-Rock, see you later.
This is E-Rock and the black guy. Okay, I'll see y'all later. Take it easy. Oh my god.
Joe, I'll let you identify however you wish. Go ahead.
Well, I'm French and Puerto Rican. So I will claim the darker aspects of my heritage. As far as where to find me, you can find me at Java Joe Sports on the X. I usually make my expressions known there. Either on here, Curious Sports Pulse, or on Scoutcast Media. That's where you'll find me live and in person. The most often. You also find a link to my writing portfolio on my X. It's got some scripts on there, got some short stories on there. That's going to be expanding here as I get my master's degree. So keep an eye out for that. But listen, enjoy the sports that we have left. NBA is on its way out. NHL is on its way out. It's just going to be baseball from here until August, man. So, I'm crying tears right now. Oh, also we do have the CFL. Keep up with that. Hopefully we'll have more CFL content on here as the NBA and the NHL head on the way out. Catch us for some baseball, some CFL action. But enjoy the night. Hopefully my local team wins the chip.
See you later, Joe.
Later.
I will let you know, Brady. I am actively rooting for the reverse sweep in both sides. If I have to pick one side to pull it off, though, I'm going to say the Dallas Mavericks. It's looking a little more likely at the moment. But shout out to you, Brady. Appreciate you giving your takes and letting us know what you think about us as a crew. But that's all the time we have. CuriousSportsPulse.com at SportsPulse 100. We are going to be on every day, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Eastern.